Welcome back, friends and family of the internet and fellow watchers on the wall. Guys, I have to apologize. Let me just start this with saying that I'm sorry. I am sorry that I let my anger about Charlie Kirk's assassination and those mocking it online to get the better of what I know is right and what is constitutionally right. This video may not win me any brownie points with conservatives, but I'm still going to speak the truth. You realize how hard they have tried in this country to remove our freedom of speech over the internet and our daily lives. We saw it. The right saw it. The conservatives saw this in 2020 to 2022. The attacks against us, people losing their jobs, people losing their homes, their careers, their retirements, some people even their lives because they couldn't take the stress. We were doxxed, we were hounded, we were made fun of, and we suffered through it. But as a country, we still continued to fight for the freedom of speech. And the country agreed. America said, you guys are right. This is wrong. We voted in Donald Trump. We have Republican control. Do you want to know what I've seen recently? Our Republican rhino elected officials talking about passing laws to do what? Stifle freedom of speech. This is not okay, America. Now, you can either hear me out or you can get frustrated with me, but I'm going to tell you the truth. They can't take our freedom of rights unless we let them take our freedom of speech from us. I've seen people mocking Charlie Kirk because he believed in the Second Amendment. And then they're like, oh, how funny. He was shocked. He was assassinated and he believed in the Second Amendment. That's right. Recently, there was a school shooting, and I talked about how the parents were out there crying, trying to remove my freedom to protect myself because of what happened to their child. And I was like, I would never want to be in their shoes, folks, ever. But that doesn't give you a right because of your pain to remove my freedom. And here we are. And I actually got on the bandwagon with my teachers getting fired video. I was like, yeah, these people should not be teaching children, and they shouldn't. But is it okay? Is it okay for us to say, oh, because we like Charlie, you're not allowed to discuss this? You're not allowed to say whatever you want to say, regardless of how depraved it is. And I know what you're going to say. Well, of course they can say what they want, Sam. They can also suffer the consequences. It's very easy to say from this end. That's hate talking, because that's what it was with me. I almost quit doing this because I realized where the world was. And I have been doxxed. Most of you never have. Most of you have never had strangers sending weird stuff in the mail to you, threatening to come to your home and hurting you. Most of you have never had that. You've never experienced what that's like. And right now, conservative Christians are doxing people on the left because you didn't like what they said about Charlie. And should you push back? Yes, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, is it really okay what we're doing? Because mark my words, it's going to be Republican politicians that put forth the legislation that stops your freedom of speech online. They couldn't do it. Whoever they are, whether that's the shadow government, the CIA, Soros, World Economic Forum, globalists, whoever they are, they couldn't take our rights using the left. So you know what they're going to do? The same playbook they used for 9/11. They're going to use our emotion to remove our own rights. We're doing it to ourselves. People are calling their politicians. You can't let them get away with this. Get away with what? Saying they didn't like Charlie Kirk? Say this with me. I am Charlie Kirk. Say it. I am Charlie Kirk. Do you really think he would be advocating for the removal of people's freedom of speech because you didn't like what they said? You know what? Let me show you. By the way, YouTube does not pay me. Speaking of freedom of speech, if you'd like to support what we do here, look at the top of comments. Make sure that you are subscribed. YouTube continuously unsubscribes people from my channel because I am a conservative. Listen to Charlie.
Multiple death threats.
Okay, so what's your volume on this?
We record all of it so that we put on the internet so people can see these ideas collide, because that's what is so important to our country, is to find our disagreements respectfully. When people stop talking, that's when you get violence. That's when civil war happens, because you start to think the other side is so evil and they lose their humanity.
What happened to Charlie Kirk was a tragedy, because what he represents is not just a particular political party, but the idea that you can freely express your ideas freely. It's supposed to be freedom of speech. It wasn't like he was some diplomat from some war-torn country who was enslaving his people and he got assassinated. It was literally a person sharing his ideas. And because some people disagreed with him, they decided to end his life. This is not the America that we're supposed to be in. In fact, even people who do things that I disagree with, like say flag burning or taking a knee in the national anthem, guess what? People gave their lives so you could have that free speech to make that decision. And let me tell you something, whoever thought that this would silence the voices, they're wrong, because we are all speaking up even more. When Charlie dropped his mic, 100,000 of us all picked up ours, and will continue to pick up our mics and speak our voice and share, especially as Christians, the gospel and the good news. So rest in peace, Charlie. May your legacy continue with all of us.
May his legacy continue of the right of anyone to say anything they so choose. You have a right to push back. You have a right to debate. Do you have a right to dox people? Do you? Do you think that it is Christian to put a mother and her children in danger of becoming homeless, or some insane person attacking them because of something her husband said on the internet, or vice versa? Think carefully, friends and family. When you hate something, you become it. Here is someone on the left expressing that concern. I hope and pray that you listen.
This can't be right. Oh my goodness. So I'm sure many of you guys are aware that we have two parties, right? And we have Democrats and we have Republicans. And there's only one party who is fighting for your free speech, okay? There's only one party that's fighting for the Constitution. That's going to be Republicans, all right? And you know what? They may not agree with what you say, okay? But they will fight for you to say it because they believe in free speech. That's what they believe in. So I'm not going to lie, it caught me off guard when I started to see all these rumors and all this speculation about Republicans and those on the right trying to censor free speech. Because as we know, when they talk about censoring, they want to say, hey, it's cancel culture. That's what the right says. That when someone gets fired for what they're saying, that's cancel culture. And we're not.
He's 100% correct. Cancel culture was a concept that came from Hitler. It is a Nazi Marxist ideology. We have got to rise above this, friends and family. We have to rise above the pain and the outrage. Let them speak. See, we're missing the bigger point. As they are spewing their hate onto the internet, mocking the death of a man whose daughter tried to run to him when she heard everybody begin screaming because she was scared. And what does daddy represent? Safety. His wife was right there when they murdered her husband. If she is not on the internet screaming, take their rights away, dox them right now, hunt them down, then who are we? We've all personalized the death of Charlie Kirk in a way that's probably not healthy. I saw that in myself, and I had to push back. I had to cry out. If you watched my video, The Black Awakening yesterday, if you get to the end of it, you'll see the pain because I was speaking to like a big sister to me a sister in Christ that leads me and guards me and prays for me. And she could feel the hurt and frustration in me just bellowing out. That is not okay. You and I never met Charlie Kirk. We did not know Charlie Kirk. He was not inside of our family, but what he represented is what we're frustrated with. You killed the idea of freedom of speech when you put the bullet in him, but we are becoming what we hate. Mark my words. We're going to lose our own rights by our own hate. And that is not what Charlie Kirk represented. Just like he would not want to see people's Second Amendment rights taken because some idiot, insane trans Tifa, liberal lunatic put a bullet in him. He would not want you to lose your Second Amendment rights. He would not want them to lose their right to speak. Do not get it twisted, family. You are not doing this for Charlie if you're going after people, because you're doing it out of vindictiveness. Just be honest with the rest of us. You feel validated. You feel like you were doing something. I am doing something. I am defending Charlie. He does not need you to defend him. He needs you to pick up the mantle of the freedom of speech that he represented, and he needs you to step out and actually do something productive, not something that's going to end up removing my freedom of speech and everyone else's because what somebody said hurt your feelings. See, here's the thing. America is not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic, and power swings. One day it's right, 4 years later, 8 years later, 12 years later, it's left. If we allow them to put laws on the book now for freedom of speech while Republicans are in control, by the time liberals get back in there, they're going to tighten those screws down. That's how it's a two-system party, but it's the same wings on the same bird. Two wings, same bird. If you understand that, you understand what dangerous position we're in. Wake up, America. Do you actually believe in freedom of speech, or do you believe in freedom of speech that doesn't offend you? Because that is not the true sharing of ideas. And I, for one, am not going to promote the removing of something so important, and neither should you.
Not going to take it, right? Isn't that what they said for Shiloh Hendricks, right? Isn't that one of the reasons that they gave for raising nearly $1 million for a white woman who called a black child an N-word? That's correct. While she had her little child with her, that was the reason. Because, hey, it has nothing to do with race, Lucas. It has to do with free speech. And we're not going to deal with this cancel culture anymore.
This is the most devastating attack on cancel culture that we have seen, possibly ever. Shiloh Hendricks has, without really trying, effectively ended cancel culture. As Mark Dice said in his video about the incident, Shiloh is the final boss of cancel culture, or maybe rather the final boss that cancel culture has to fight.
That's what they said. Now, what has recently happened, G.O. Golly, has been we have such people who are advocating for the firing and doxing of people who are saying things that they don't like about Charlie Kirk.
Beta!
Now, I didn't want to believe it until I looked it up. You have libs of TikTok who doxed a firefighter. Why, you ask? Well, simply because she said something that she didn't like about Charlie Kirk.
Come on now, dog.
And now
I'll link all of these videos in the description of the video. You can go watch it yourself, but I want you to hear one more, and then I've got to get ready for church, friends and family.
So actually, I appreciate you for trying to ruin my life, but it didn't work, okay? It didn't work. But all that to say, I know exactly what they're dealing with. I know exactly what that feels like. I know exactly what it feels like to have death threats pouring in, to have phone calls, to have people call your phone nonstop where you can't even open your phone. It's always calling, having to change your number, having to move, having to pay for expensive software to scrub your address off there because X doesn't care about leaving addresses up there. Having to deal with people screenshotting their GPS telling you, I'll be there in 5 hours. See ya. Anytime soon. I will do this, that, and the other. Thousands thousands of them. Credible death threats. Having my address leaked everywhere. Having pictures of my family members leaked everywhere. Mocked and derided and threatened as well. So, yes, I know exactly where you're coming from. But you know what? I actually don't feel sorry for you at all. Should I? Should I feel sorry for you? Should I take pity on the people who did the exact same thing to me and countless others? Basically, anybody who's in this scene, anybody who is a talking head, that has happened to them. But up until now, it's only happened to the right wing. It's never happened to the left wing. So let me get this clear, make this very clear. I enjoy this. I am reveling in it. I take great pleasure in your downfall. I take great pleasure in knowing that I'm sure some of these people who are now getting fired, I'm sure at least one of them were sending emails to my employer. I'm sure at least one of them were sending my address into Black Power sites to have me killed. I'm sure at least one of them had my name on a list, on a hit list, and they were sending it to all their thug friends. So I feel not even a shred of pity for you. I am ecstatic that you are getting a little taste of your own medicine. However, that is my personal feelings. But we have to address the issue of doxing. We have to address the issue of cancel culture. Because when that was all happening to me, I was like, I'm carrying the torch. I don't want this happening in my country. I'm a free speech absolutist. Unless you're like actually calling hit on somebody or doing something that's like illegal by the definition of the law, you have the right to say it. You have the right to say it. And I want everyone to be able to have the right to say that. Actually, it's good because now you know who your enemies are. So while I am enjoying this, it's delicious, to quote Nick Fuentes' phrase, it's delicious. It's yum. I'm soaking it up. I love it, honestly. It's quite frankly, it's making my day a lot better to know that some of these people are feeling the fruits of what they created, which was cancel culture. But I would not engage in that. I would not try to cancel somebody. I would never dox their address. And I would not try to get them fired. Because I know what that feels like. And even though they've done that to me, even though they've done that to probably people listening to this, they've done that to my friends, they've done that to my family, I am not going to turn around and start doing that to people myself because, again, I don't want that. I don't want to live in a society where you can have your life ruined because of something you say. Are these sick individuals? 100%. Do they deserve to live a shitty life? Absolutely. But I want no part of that. Because here's the thing. When you give a little bit just because it feels good for you, you kind of introduce a slippery slope. This is why I am a hardliner. I take hard lines on things. I'm not a gray person. I'm very black and white.
So am I. So let me enter here. Again, you can find these videos in the description of this one. America, listen to me and listen to me now. We are either a country that allows freedom of speech or we are not. Make up your mind. I don't want to see the comments, and I know you guys can't help it. You're going to put them in there. But they're making fun of Charlie. People made fun of Kennedy when he was assassinated. People made fun of all kinds of people. That's what people do. Let them show their true colors. At least you know who your enemy is. We do not have a right to shut it down because the tables are going to turn soon. They always do. They're going to be in power and your voice is going to be shut down. And I'm going to come back and say, I told you so. Just like Second Amendment rights. You lose your kid in a school shooting. I'm sorry. That is horrific. You don't have a right to remove my Second Amendment rights. Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Liberals are saying horrific things online. You do not have a right to remove their freedom of speech. He would tell you the same thing, friends and family of the internet. This may not be the popular stance, but it is the right one. And rarely is the right thing to do the popular stance. Some of you right now just had a moment of awakening and you went, you know, Sam, I agree. When 9/11 happened, Republicans were in power. We gave up more freedoms in the Patriot Act than this country had given up in 200 years. We allowed that on our watch. We allowed the Bushes and the Cheneys to just, now we live under a police state. We're surveilled. We lost our freedom to privacy, our freedom to being recorded, the RICO Act, all of that happened underneath Republicans because they couldn't do it under the left because we saw it. We're like, oh, no, those liberal Democrats want to take my rights. We're not allowing that legislation through. So what do? They wait until the Republicans are back in power, allow something horrible to happen, get you all riled up in your emotions. Whoop, they pull it out from underneath you. And because you're crying in your pillow, you miss the mark. Wake up, America. Freedom of speech means you have the freedom to say something other people don't like. If we don't allow them to say what they want about Charlie Kirk, here very soon, you're not going to be able to say the name of Jesus online. And it's going to be your fault because you allowed it. Because you thought what? You were offended for Charlie? That is a spirit of offense. Put it aside. Your feelings do not matter. Let me say it for you one more time because enough people don't tell you this. Your feelings don't matter. Adults know how to take their feelings and set them aside and say, you know what? I don't like what you're saying, but words have never hurt me. It's your choice. What America do you want to live in? But I sure the heck don't want to live in this one. Not with what's fixing to happen. They couldn't do it under the liberals. So they waited. They waited. And they took a piece of Charlie Kirk out of all of us because I am Charlie Kirk. Be a better representation of him. Because I'm telling you right now, after watching hours and hours of footage of him, he would not be okay with what you guys say you're doing in his name. Stop it. Stop it now. Be blessed. Love you guys. If you'd like to support us, look in the top of comments.